before we begin, here's your warning. This isn't tabloid trash. It's federal courtroom chaos, and the new name featured here turns the table. Just moments ago, during Diddy's racketeering trial, prosecutors played a sealed audio file, and it wasn't just Diddy on the tape. The second voice was Leonardo Di Caprio, calm, calculated, and speaking in coded phrases about offshore transfers and fake art deals. What started as a money case just turned into a Hollywood scandal with global stakes. There was no press alert, no internet leak, just a sudden submission from the prosecution team during Sean Diddy Combs' racketeering trial, and the courtroom changed immediately. 3 weeks into testimony and forensic audits, the focus had been dry, ledgers, shell accounts, NDAs, but that changed when a government technician queued up a sealed audio file. Judge Margot Keller didn't ask questions. She ordered the room cleared and locked, and the file was played. It was audio, just under 6 minutes, and it featured 2 voices. One was Diddy. The other was unmistakably Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, if you think they were just sharing laughs over a project, you're dead wrong. This runs far darker than anyone imagined. The exchange wasn't frantic or uncertain. It was calm, low-toned, and laced with coded references. DiCaprio could be heard discussing silent shares in the Gallery project, asking whether the Basel piece had been moved under the OIG umbrella, and recommending it be reframed as a climate-linked loan structure. Diddy agreed, saying they'd already cleared Sotheby's and wanted Bahamas over Zurich for the next drop. They didn't use financial terms directly, but prosecutors pointed out the overlap with existing offshore trust language. The file metadata placed the call in early 2022, weeks before DiCaprio's foundation launched its now-suspended Green Gallery initiative. They spoke in secret codes to avoid being caught, forgetting that today, forensic tech hears everything, and they did. Because a forensic audio analyst from the DOSUAJ confirmed a 92% match to DiCaprio using biometric waveform modeling and transcript overlay. Defense counsel tried to block admission, calling the content theoretical, but prosecutors linked the conversation to shady money transfers involving fake art companies and charity groups based in Zurich and the Bahamas. Some of these art deals from 2021 were already being investigated by U.S. authorities for not following money rules. 2 of the art companies mentioned, Silva Frame Group and Geoculture Inc., had been used in both DiCaprio's and Diddy's financial documents before. But this was the first time someone officially connected them together. Moreover, investigators say this link establishes more than coordination. It suggests shared intent and a way darker intent honestly. Because in the courtroom, the transcript showed that DiCaprio talked about a past event in Miami that was made to look like a charity fundraiser. Diddy added that they didn't make it look too much like an environmental project, so the government wouldn't look into it closely. Prosecutors checked this and found it matched a 2021 art event DiCaprio held with his group called the Ocean Impact Fund. That event collected $2.3 million in donations, but only $600,000 was actually recorded as spent. That missing money is now being quietly looked at by the IRS. One line DiCaprio said in the recording is now a big deal in that investigation. As long as we keep the valuation poetic, nobody asks where it lands. Basically, he meant that if they made it sound nice and vague, no one would question what they were really doing. But if you thought that part of the audio was bad, what came next was even more disturbing. Courtroom officials have confirmed this was not the only file recovered during the March seizure of Diddy's Miami recording studio. The flash drive containing the audio was found inside a password-protected folder named Guests-2022. Federal agents are now analyzing additional audio segments labeled by initials and time codes. Meanwhile, a DOJ spokesperson stated that the DiCaprio tape is likely one part of a larger pattern involving structured offshore transfers masked as philanthropic art deals. the term used by the prosecution in their briefing? Art-wrapped laundering. And here's the twist. If this was money laundering, it didn't involve cash counters. It used something far harder to trace. DiCaprio has not been charged, but his legal team has acknowledged the voice appears to be his and has stated the conversation reflected personal opinions on international art trade mechanisms, not criminal planning. However, several climate-related art purchases made under his name during that period are now flagged for review. Diddy's counsel has since pivoted, calling DiCaprio a third-party interlocutor, attempting to distance the music mogul from any implied coordination. But the language in the tape, the matching dates, and the shared entities now make that strategy difficult to hold. And honestly, what a ridiculous stunt DiCaprio's legal team pulled. It completely backfired. As soon as the audio of Leonardo DiCaprio and Diddy leaked in court, DiCaprio's legal team jumped into damage control. Within hours, they released a public statement calling the recording inauthentic and misleadingly edited, claiming it was taken out of context. But prosecutors weren't interested in PR spin. They hit back by officially issuing a subpoena, requiring DiCaprio to appear as a material witness. But when Amazon Studios pulled out DiCaprio's new environmental film, all the puzzles came in one place. That same day, two environmental organizations that had long partnered with DiCaprio's foundation issued statements cutting ties with him. One called it a painful but necessary step due to growing concerns over ethical accountability. Meanwhile, documents from a 2023 IRS audit of DiCaprio's charity, which had previously been marked as cleared, were reopened. Now that same paperwork will be examined again, this time under a federal RICO case, which is used to prosecute organized crime. It didn't help that TMZ broke a new story hours later. DiCaprio's longtime lawyer, Nora Sinclair, had reportedly offered to resign due to internal disagreements over how to handle the fallout. But instead, she stayed and renegotiated her contract for $2.2 million. And now, tell me when your lawyer almost walks away? During a federal trial, what does it say about your innocence? As investigators kept digging, they began connecting DiCaprio to a much wider problem. Federal agencies are now working with European counterparts to explore what they're calling the Basel Ring, a network of ultra-wealthy individuals, mostly celebrities, allegedly using the fine art market to move money across borders without detection. It's not one organization, but a group of people who know the system and how to quietly exploit it. A whistleblower from a Swiss shipping firm came forward and described seeing art crates labeled Basquiat being loaded onto Diddy's private jet, without customs clearance or documentation. That's a major red flag. But once you're flying million-dollar art across borders with no paperwork, it stops looking like culture. It starts looking like a crime. What ties DiCaprio into this even deeper is his Art for Oceans initiative. In 2022, the program bought 5 paintings in the name of raising money for marine conservation. But now, all 5 artworks are under FBI review, suspected of being part of the same offshore scheme. A confidential document, leaked to an international task force, lists 12 individuals who may have knowingly benefited from inflated sales or fake auctions. Among them are a major tech investor, 2 retired NBA stars, and a producer connected to both DiCaprio and Diddy. None of them have been charged yet, but their names are now part of an active investigation. And then it became clear that if these auctions were rigged, then every dollar that changed hands may have been part of a coordinated scam. The way it allegedly worked was simple but powerful. A painting would be sold at an exclusive private gallery for a massively inflated price. The buyer would usually be another connected figure, already part of the ring. Money would then pass through legal-looking transactions, ending up in accounts that were impossible to track without forensic audits. From the outside, it all looked like rich people supporting the arts. But behind the scenes, investigators now believe it was being used to dodge taxes, hide profits, and redistribute money in secret. And then, Out of nowhere, a piece of unexpected evidence came to light and completely changed the course of the case. Just days after Leonardo DiCaprio's name shook the courtroom, something unexpected landed on the prosecution's desk. A handwritten diary belonging to Kim Porter, Diddy's former partner, who died in 2018 under suspicious circumstances. The diary had never been part of any public record, and no one had seen it before. Found by a relative cleaning out storage, it was handed over to authorities after the audio leaks put DiCaprio at the center of a growing investigation. What it contained was far from random thoughts. It was a near-daily log of events, meetings, and names, many of which matched dates already under review in Diddy's financial files. But one line written in 2017 brought the courtroom to a standstill. Leo was at the house again. Keep the cash movement poetic. The diary described Diddy hosting several late-night meetings at his Los Angeles mansion involving unnamed European fixers, along with cryptic notes like Swiss airdrops approved and Basel prep handled. Some entries included initials like LD and SG, which analysts say likely refer to DiCaprio and a known Swiss gallery owner now flagged by the FBI. The diary's value wasn't in proving facts directly, it was in linking the people, places, and timing. According to court experts, this kind of first-hand record can now be used under a hearsay exception because it supports ongoing claims of conspiracy and organized concealment. She's gone, but her words might bring down two of the world's biggest stars. While legal teams argued over how much of the diary could be shown to the jury, Hollywood had already started making moves of its own. Talent agencies began quietly removing DiCaprio's name from call sheets, even for roles he had already signed on to. Production teams flagged him as PR Risk Level 4, industry code for reputational damage. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences released a short statement. "We are monitoring developments involving one of our members." Meanwhile, Diddy's music licensing contracts were suspended in the UK, France, and South Africa, cutting off major streaming revenue. The entertainment machine was shifting fast. Now you might be wondering how Diddy responded. Well, he pleaded the fifth. Back in court, the pressure on Diddy rose sharply. Prosecutors replayed another segment of the tape, this time as part of a cross-examination. DiCaprio's voice was calm. "You handle New York. I'll handle Berlin. Basel's just the rehearsal." The room didn't move. Diddy's defense objected, but the judge overruled. Then came the questions. Were you coordinating international transfers with Mr. DiCaprio without declaring them? Diddy didn't answer, not once. He invoked the Fifth Amendment 7 times in a row, avoiding every direct question. But how long do you think you can stay silent? Or do you believe everyone else has lost their voice too?